5 EastEnders spoilers next week for the 27th to the 30th of January 2025. Gina Knight faces suspicion over mum Cindy Beale's attack. 1. Gina Knight under suspicion over mum Cindy Beale. Anna Knight remains very suspicious of big sister Gina, especially when she sees her having another secret chat with Harry Mitchell. Meanwhile, elder brother Junior Knight is devastated when estranged wife Monique cuts off his access to their son Xavier due to him being a suspect in an attempted murder case. In the Queen Vic, things come to a head as Junior exposes a shocking secret about Gina. Everyone points the finger at her, but George Knight jumps to Gina's defense. As Gina tries to explain herself to her stunned family, accusations fly, and a smug Ian Beale tells Elaine Peacock that he plans to report Gina to the police. Anna is comforted by Freddie Slater, and the pair finally give in to their mutual feelings for each other. As the week continues, Ian pushes Cindy to go to the police, but she's determined to do things her way. What has been revealed about Gina, and could she be responsible for what happened to her mum? 2. Ruby Allen catches tender moment between Martin Fowler and Stacy Slater after blunder. Martin is cold with Ruby after the way she dealt with Councillor Barker, and later. Barker announces that the market will be kept open, but this doesn't change Martin's stance. Ruby is intent on proving Martin wrong, and tries to put things right with Barker. As the market traders celebrate their news, Martin is called to his stall, where vengeful Barker closes it down for an alleged health and safety violation. Martin is furious with Ruby, but Stacy Slater speaks up for her. Martin is upset to be met by indifference from cousin Ian when he explains what's happened, and is hurt that Ian doesn't care about the legacy of their family business. Stacy tries to rally Martin's spirits, and she goes to see Ruby, begging her to resort to her old tricks to get Martin's stall back. Ruby, however, refuses, determined to show she's changed. Stacy turns to Honey Mitchell for help, and things take a turn as Martin and Stacy share a warm moment which almost leads to a kiss. They pull away before it goes too far, but Ruby sees everything and confronts Martin. He brushes it off, telling Stacy that Ruby is asking questions. Martin and Stacy agree their moment meant nothing. When Ruby asks Stacy if she has feelings for Martin, Stacy promises that's all in the past, but should Ruby be worried? 3. Phil Mitchell steps in to help Billy Mitchell. Billy is excitedly planning his wedding to Honey and announces his best man. He also organizes a disco and orders a barbecue. But Billy's delight is short-lived when Honey realizes he's made a costly mistake. Later, Phil secretly arranges to get Billy out of financial difficulty, mysteriously asking for help from Mo Harris in his plan. How will Phil solve this situation for Billy? Billy and Honey are set to remarry during February's milestone 40th anniversary episode of EastEnders. Will their nuptials go off without a hitch? 4. Yolande Truman tries to boost Nigel Bates's spirits. Yolande asks Nigel if he's told pal Phil about his dementia diagnosis yet. But Nigel says no. As Yolande and Nigel work together at the soup kitchen, a woman called Norma comes in and chats to Nigel. The pair are getting on well, until Norma asks Nigel out and he rushes off. Yolande tries to make Nigel understand that he could have many good years left, and so he shouldn't shut himself off from people like Norma. But what about the wife he abandoned, and thinks he's protecting, Julie? Will Nigel ever tell her about his illness? 5. Ravi Gulati conspires to be alone with Denise Fox. Ravi flirts with Denise, who challenges him to find somewhere they can secretly spend time together. But with Ravi's son Devinder, Nugget, Gulati aware of their passion, the teen continues to clash with his father, as the subject of scattering evil Nishpanis's ashes comes up. Later, though, Ravi manages to get the family home to himself to spend the evening with Denise. After giving Priyanandra hard cash to take their daughter Avani to a spa, Denise not truly over ex-husband Jack Branning. How will this all end? EastEnders Martin and Stacy to be caught out in kiss drama. Ruby isn't happy. EastEnders Martin Fowler and Stacy Slater are set to be caught out next week, as the love triangle with Ruby Allen continues. Martin is now back together with Ruby, with the pair bonding over their son Roman, but their reconciliation has been painful for Stacy, who wasn't able to tell her ex-husband her true feelings. Ruby has recently grown jealous of Martin's relationship with Stacy, after they began working on plans to save Walford's market. In this week's scenes, Ruby steps in to try to help, but she ends up in an argument with Councillor Barker. She then devises a risky plan with the councillor, to try to impress Martin. This seemingly doesn't work, as in scenes that will air next week, Martin is cold with Ruby over how she dealt with Councillor Barker. It is announced that the council will keep the market open after all. Martin still isn't in the forgiving mood, so Ruby finds Barker to put things right and prove Martin wrong. The square celebrates the good news, but Martin is dealt a huge blow when Barker, in the hunt for revenge, closes down his stall for an alleged health and safety violation. Martin is furious with Ruby, but Stacy sticks up for her former friend. He tells Ian about the situation, but he isn't too bothered. Stacy attempts to cheer him up, as Martin reveals that Ian doesn't care about what happens to their family business. Stacy takes action and asks Ruby to use any means possible to try to get Martin's stall back. But Ruby refuses to use any dirty tricks, as she wants to prove that she has changed for the better. Refusing to give up, Stacy recruits Honey to help save the stall. Stacy and Martin then have an intimate moment, and they almost end up kissing, while they pull away before anything happens. It is already too late. Ruby has seen everything. Ruby confronts Martin, but he is keen to play down what happened. When he reports back to Stacy about Ruby's questions, the pair agree that their latest moment meant nothing. Stacy later faces questions herself. When Ruby asks her if she has feelings for Martin, she promises that they're ancient history, but will the truth be revealed? EastEnders Legends exit sealed as she makes unexpected and final decision. Reese was shocked. Sonia Fowler made a life-changing decision on EastEnders in her ongoing storyline with Reese Colwell and Bianca Jackson. Sonia has been behind bars in recent months after being charged with the murder of Reese's wife Debbie, a crime that he had committed last year. Bianca had been suspicious of Reese ever since, and discovered the truth in November before being held captive by the murderer. With Thursday's, January 17th, episodes seeing the character fail in her attempt to escape. Sonia, meanwhile, has been preparing for her day in court, with Monday's, January 20th, installment beginning as Reese asked Cindy, who had been staying with him since her attack, to leave before he headed to the trial. In a chat with her lawyer, a pugnacious Sonia declared her intention to vigorously plead her innocence, though the lawyer urged caution as she explained that the worst outcome should always be considered. As Sonia came under fire in the courtroom, an enraged Reese came to her defense, though he was warned he would be charged with contempt of court. After Sonia urged him to calm down, the stress of the situation caused her to pass out. While Reese was lambasted by Martin for his latest outburst, Sonia explained to her lawyer that she would soon be taken to hospital for checks, though she aired her concerns about her fate as she remarked that the jury had assumed the worst. After assessing the various factors, it was announced in court that Sonia had decided to plead guilty for the sake of her unborn child. The lawyer later informed Reese of Sonia's intention, though he implored her that her mind needed to be changed. Will Sonia go through with her decision, and will Reese ever face justice for his crime? The Knights reeling as one of their own is hit with shocking allegation in EastEnders. EastEnders to reveal shocking secret about Gina Knight next week. Junior exposes the truth. It is still unknown who hit Cindy with a shovel on Christmas Day, and she has recently received another sinister threat from someone who wants her dead. In Monday's episode, Ian decided to let Cindy stay with him while she feels unsafe. But it seems that he might have an ulterior motive, and later this week, the Knights begin to question his intentions. But Elaine and George then make a big discovery in the barrel store, which leads them to start questioning whether Anna and Gina are hiding secrets of their own. Anna also spots Gina having a covert chat with Harry, and in scenes that will air next week, she grows more suspicious of her sister when she finds them having another secret conversation. Elsewhere, Junior is having a difficult time, as he finds out that Monique is cutting off his access to his son Xavier because of his involvement in an attempted murder case. Tensions continue to rise within the family, and a situation emerges in the Vic. Things take a dramatic turn when Junior exposes a shocking secret about Gina to the family. As a result of Junior's revelation, suspicion begins to fall on Gina, and George steps in to try to defend his daughter. But he is unable to stop the accusations, and Gina is forced to explain herself to everyone. Gina looks set to face serious consequences in the light of this secret being revealed, as Ian later tells Elaine that he intends to phone the police and report her. Meanwhile, Anna has grown closer to Freddie in recent months, since a kiss between them last year led to the breakdown of Anna and Bobby's relationship and Bobby's exit from Walford. Anna was reluctant to take things further with Freddie at Christmas, but next week he supports her through the drama with her family and the pair finally give in to their feelings for one another. As the week continues, Ian tries to push Cindy to go to the police about the new information, but she chooses to handle the situation in her own way. What is Gina hiding, and could she be responsible for her mum's attack? EastEnders confirms unexpected Ian twist as key suspects in Cindy's attack are ruled out. Cindy Beale has made a shocking and unexpected move in EastEnders that is bound to infuriate his family. It comes after his fiancée Cindy Beale was being left fearing for her life after her attacker threw a brick at her, warning that her days are numbered. The note attached read, "You should have stayed dead. Now I'm coming for you. And as are we, though for the time being, we'll have to continue playing armchair detectives as the big reveal won't take place until EastEnders' big 40th anniversary next month." In tonight's episode, Cindy was shaken and wondering who to trust. She's currently staying with murderer Reese Colwell, who had decided enough was enough, she had to move out. There was much speculation around Albert Square as to who could have thrown the brick towards her, with Mo Harris believing that her ex-husband George Knight could be responsible. Ian was looking through his emails, clocking the booking for a French villa that Cindy had made for them both in the hope they could do a flit. Their son Peter was fearful that his mum believed he was the one who had attacked her. As she continued to ignore his calls, Ian resolved that he'd have to go and speak to her himself. Arriving at the house, Cindy was in no state to have visitors. She hid away on the staircase whilst Ian banged on the door, and he was forced to take desperate measures. Faking heart palpitations, she believed he was taking another devastating setback and hurried him inside. As they sat and discussed the events of the last month, the frosty atmosphere subsided and Ian explained that despite everything he'd put her through, Cindy was still the mother to his children. He also said that he'd been by her side 3 years ago when she ceremoniously came back to life, and it was clear that he still showed great affection for her. She agreed that being hemmed up inside wasn't doing her any good, so she decided to brave a trip to the Queen Vic with him. Unfortunately, the Knight clan weren't as forgiving and Elaine ordered her to leave. Ian was furious to see reception they gave her, especially Cindy's own daughter Gina, who has yet to visit her mum in hospital. He then made a shocking allegation, perhaps she was the one who threw the brick. Back at her temporary home, Cindy contacted her liaison officer to see if there had been any death threats from the Ford family, who had forced her into witness protection for 25 years. With no threat evident, Ian began to ponder whether they actually were responsible, and had paid off the officer for her silence. Cindy desperately tried to get him to move to France with her, suggesting they could rush off without anyone knowing. He remained defiant. It wasn't the right thing to do, but did suggest she could move in with him again. That's going to ruffle some feathers. As they hugged, Ian had an unusual look on his face. Is this part of a wider game plan? EastEnders Ruby shocked by desperate plea from Stacy, and shuts her down. As fans know, Ruby is currently loved up with ex-husband Martin Fowler once again, despite the bubbling tension between him and his other ex-wife Stacy. But next week, there is trouble in paradise after Ruby's dealings with Councillor Barker over the closure of the Bridge Street market have unintended consequences for Martin. Forthcoming scenes see Martin giving his girlfriend the cold shoulder over how she handled the situation with Barker, and his mood does not improve even when it is announced the market can stay open. In a bid to prove him wrong, Ruby finds Barker and tries to put things right. However, Barker is feeling vengeful and later delivers the blow that while the market is staying open, he is closing Martin's stall for an alleged health and safety violation. Martin is furious at Ruby, but Stacy surprisingly speaks up for her former best friend, before Martin goes off to visit his cousin Ian Beale, hoping to get support from him about their family's legacy. Martin is devastated when he's met by total indifference to the stall's closure from Ian, and it is left to Stacy to try and lift his spirits. Later, she goes to see Ruby and begs her to use any tricks she can to get the stall back. However, Ruby refuses Stacy's plea, determined to prove that she's changed once and for all. Martin has made it clear that he doesn't want to be with that version of Ruby. Actress Louisa Lytton, who plays Ruby, explains. Ruby knows that by doing what Stacy asks, she'll just lose Martin, so she has to stick to what she's promised him. Also, it's Stacy who is asking her to do this, not Martin. And why would she do that for Stacy? She's not going to jeopardize what she's got with Martin and push him back towards Stacy. But without Ruby's support, Stacy sets off on mission to get Martin's stall back, and Ruby may live to regret not offering her help when she then witnesses a warm moment between them that almost results in a kiss.
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoilers Liquid.